Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. In this life, you don't get what you want. You get what you believe you deserve. And too many women are walking around trying to prove they worthy of a man instead of understanding they are the prize. The game changes when you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing yourself. You know, there's something real powerful about a woman who knows who she is and what she brings to the table. See, a high-value woman doesn't operate from a place of lack, and she sure don't chase anybody. She ain't running after some man trying to convince him she's worthy. No, sir. That woman walks with purpose. She's not out here begging to be seen because she knows she's already worth looking at. Her presence alone commands attention. It's not an outfit, not a makeup, not her curves. It's her energy. That kind of woman, man, she don't chase, she chooses. Now, let me break this down. We've raised women in this world to believe that if they just try hard enough, if they just do a little more, be a little sweeter, give a little more of themselves, then they'll finally be chosen by some man. But that's not how this works. A high-value woman doesn't wait around hoping she's good enough. She already knows she is. She doesn't waste time proving her worth to people who can't even see it. That woman walks into a room and she's already evaluated the energy before she gives hers. She don't hand out her time, love, and loyalty like samples at a grocery store. No. She observes, she discerns, and then she chooses. There's a difference between availability and desperation. You can be open to love without begging for it. You can want a relationship without losing yourself for it. And that's what a high-value woman understands. She has options, but more importantly, she knows she is the option. You ever see a woman sitting alone, drinking her coffee, minding her business, and there's just something about her that makes the whole room stop? That's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's the energy of a woman who doesn't need attention to feel validated. She's not performing. She's not pretending. She's not playing games to keep a man interested. She's living, breathing, choosing what serves her. And see, when you carry yourself like that, the world shifts around you. Men don't approach you the same way. They come correct or they don't come at all. A woman who chooses doesn't deal with maybes. She doesn't hang on to empty words, false promises, or hot and cold behavior. If a man wants to be in her life, he better bring consistency, respect, and clarity. She ain't got time for confusion, because confusion is a form of disrespect. You either want her or you don't. And if you don't, she's not going to cry, chase, or lose sleep over it. She'll say, thank you for showing me, and she'll keep it moving. That kind of woman changes the way a man moves. She upgrades the energy in the room. She doesn't have to raise her voice or act out to be heard. She don't play emotional tug-of-war to get love. No. Her strength is quiet, but don't mistake that for weakness. She's been through some things. She's cried, she's healed, and now she's focused. Her peace is expensive, and not everybody can afford it. A man has to earn her space, not with money, not with charm, but with character. He has to bring real integrity to sit at her table because she's not just giving out seats. A high-value woman has standards, not walls. She's not guarded because she's bitter. She's selective because she's better now. She's learned from the past. She's not chasing some fantasy. She's building a life. And if someone wants to walk with her, they need to be ready for that path. And when she does choose a man, it's not out of loneliness, it's out of alignment. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's whole already. She's looking for someone to complement her. So understand this. The moment you stop chasing and start choosing, everything changes. You stop wasting time. You stop entertaining nonsense. You stop negotiating with people who don't even deserve a conversation. And most importantly, you step into your power, because when you know your worth, you stop offering discounts. And baby, let me tell you, when you start choosing, the game ain't the same. Let me tell you something real clear. Silence is a woman's secret weapon. There comes a point when words don't matter anymore, when explanations feel useless, when repeating yourself starts to sound like begging. That's when a real woman gets quiet. Not because she's weak, not because she's done, but because she's done talking. Silence is not surrender. It's a shift in energy. It says, I'm no longer trying to convince you, I've already convinced myself. And when a woman reaches that place, that's when things get real serious. You see, men hear noise all day, demands, complaints, chaos. But silence hits different. Silence says, I've seen enough. I've felt enough. I've waited long enough. When a woman goes silent, it's not because she doesn't care. It's because she's finally caring for herself. She spent enough time raising her voice for someone who never raised his effort. She's been pouring, hoping, holding on, and now she's protecting her peace. She's not trying to be understood anymore. She's understanding herself. You know what scares a man more than yelling? A woman who doesn't speak. Because now he doesn't know where he stands. He can't predict her next move. And that's when the power shifts. That's when he starts thinking, wait a minute, is she done with me? Because the begging stopped, the long texts stopped, the crying, the explaining, the emotional breakdowns, they all went quiet. And silence, my friend, speaks volume. It's louder than any speech. It's more powerful than any tear, because it shows strength, it shows restraint. It shows that she's no longer reacting, she's deciding. See, some women think love means fighting for someone until they love you back. That ain't love. That's emotional labor. That's draining your soul for someone who isn't even paying attention. Real love doesn't need a loud performance. It doesn't need you to constantly prove your worth. You can't force someone to value you by screaming louder. You show them your worth by walking away in silence when they ignore your voice. There's something holy about a woman who stops explaining herself, who simply disappears from chaos, who no longer begs to be chosen, heard, or loved. That kind of woman doesn't shout, she exits. She doesn't argue, she aligns. And let me tell you, when she does that, she leaves a silence behind that echoes through a man's soul. Suddenly he's left alone with all the things she used to say, all the love she used to give, all the prayers she whispered, and that silence, it hits harder than any goodbye. Silence is a woman saying, I love myself too much to keep trying to convince you. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that you were never the problem, that you gave what you could, that you stayed longer than you should have. And now it's time to rest, to recharge, to reclaim your dignity. That's the moment when you realize that you don't need closure from someone who couldn't even give you clarity. You don't need apologies from someone who never showed effort. You don't need explanations from someone who never listened in the first place. And ladies, when you choose silence over chaos, you become untouchable. Not cold, not distant, just clear. You're no longer operating from emotion, you're moving with intention. You're not cutting someone off to punish them, you're cutting them loose to heal yourself. And that kind of silence, that silence is sacred. It's strength disguised as stillness. So if you're in a space where your love is being taken for granted, your efforts are being ignored, your voice is being drowned out, stop trying to make noise. Stop raising your voice. Stop begging him to see you. Go quiet. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. Let him feel the weight of your absence. Let your silence remind him of everything your presence brought. Because a woman's silence, when it's born from love, heartbreak, and growth, it's the loudest message she'll ever send. And trust me, it always gets heard. Let me make something real clear. There's a big difference between having preferences and having standards, and too many people out here are confusing the two. A preference is liking tall over short, or wanting a man who's into books instead of basketball. That's surface, that's flavor. But standards, oh no, baby. Standards are rooted in respect. Standards are about how you allow someone to treat you. They're not about what you like, they're about what you won't tolerate. And once you know the difference, your life will start looking real different too. See, when a woman has standards, she doesn't bend every time she feels lonely. She doesn't lower herself just to keep someone around. A woman with standards knows what love feels like, and she also knows what it doesn't. She doesn't confuse breadcrumbs for effort. She doesn't romanticize struggle. Her boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They're fences to keep nonsense from getting in. And that's what some men don't understand. When she says no to something, she's not being difficult. She's being clear. She's protecting her peace. She's drawing a line that says, I've been through enough to know what I won't go through again. Now let's talk real. A woman without standards will find herself constantly hurt, confused, exhausted because she's giving too much and expecting too little. She's tolerating disrespect, accepting half for it, and calling it love. But once a woman sets real standards, when she says this is the bare minimum I will accept, she's not doing it to scare men off. She's doing it so the wrong ones weed themselves out. The right man won't be afraid of your standards. He'll respect them. He'll show up with clarity. He'll match your energy. He'll come correct. You ever hear someone say she's too picky? That's usually code for she has boundaries I don't feel like honoring. And let me tell you something right now. Never let anybody make you feel guilty for knowing your worth. If having standards makes you too much, then let them go find less. You don't have to shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable. You don't have to explain why you want commitment, loyalty, consistency, peace. That's not asking for too much. That's asking for basic human decency. And if someone can't meet that, they don't belong in your life. A man who really wants you will respect your boundaries, not test them. He won't push your limits to see how far he can go before you break. He'll move with care. He'll listen when you speak. And he won't try to gaslight you into thinking you're too sensitive or too demanding. A woman with standards doesn't just want a relationship, she wants alignment. She wants a connection that honors her heart, her mind, and her value. And that kind of love doesn't come from lowering the bar. It comes from holding it steady. But here's where it gets deep. When you start enforcing your standards, you'll lose some people. And that's okay. Let them go. Let them walk. Because if your standards scare them off, it means they were never ready for the kind of love you're capable of giving. And it hurts, sure. But what hurts more is staying in situations where you're constantly having to beg for the bare minimum. When you live without standards, you teach people how to mistreat you. When you live with them, you teach people how to step up or step aside. Don't ever apologize for requiring more. Don't feel bad for having expectations. You're not asking for a miracle. You're asking for someone to meet you where you are without making you feel like you're too hard to love. And if someone can't do that, let them find someone easier. Because, baby, you're not here to teach someone how to treat you. You're here to choose someone who already knows how. So remember this, standards don't make you difficult, they make you healthy. They keep your heart safe. They protect your future. And most of all, they remind you every single day that your worth is not up for negotiation. Let's get one thing straight. Respect doesn't come from how much you love someone. It doesn't come from how long you've been with them or how much you've done for them. Respect comes from how you carry yourself, from what you allow and what you don't, from your ability to say no and mean it. Because truth be told, a man doesn't respect what he can manipulate. He doesn't honor what he can walk all over. A man respects what he can't control. And that's a woman who knows her power and ain't afraid to use it. A woman who can't be controlled is not a woman who's mean or angry. She's just aware. She's aware of her value, aware of her peace, aware of her boundaries. She doesn't let a man's sweet talk override her sense of direction. She's not controlled by compliments or scared by silence. When a man pulls away, she doesn't chase. When he disrespects her, she doesn't explain why she deserves better. She shows it by walking away. That kind of woman makes a man think twice before he plays games. That kind of woman makes him sit up straighter, step up stronger, because he knows she won't tolerate anything less than a man who comes correct. See, when a man knows he can press your buttons, give you the silent treatment, breadcrumb you with attention, and still have access to you, he doesn't have to change. Why would he? You've already shown him that your love is available at a discount price. But the moment you stop reacting to those tactics, the moment you stop responding to mixed signals, stop begging for clarity, stop overgiving, that's when things shift. That's when he realizes he doesn't have you like he thought he did. And that's when respect begins. You ever notice how the women who are the most disrespected are usually the ones who keep trying the hardest? They bend. They forgive too fast. They hold on even when the love has become lopsided. But a woman who holds her line, a woman who says, you're not going to talk to me that way, or I won't be part of this back and forth, that woman gets treated different. She's not mean. She's not heartless. She's just not movable. Her feelings don't run the show. Her standards do. Men test women all the time. It's not always on purpose, but it happens. They want to see how much they can get away with. Can they cancel plans at the last minute and still get another chance? Can they ghost you for days and pop back up like nothing happened? Can they act inconsistent and still expect your loyalty? The women who let that slide don't get respect. They get used. But the women who pull back, who say that's not how I roll, those women get a different version of a man. Because men know exactly who they can play with and exactly who they better show up for. It's not about playing hard to get, it's about being hard to play. It's about knowing that your time is valuable, your love is sacred, and your presence is a privilege, not a favor. A man respects a woman. He can't shake, can't guilt, can't emotionally twist around his finger when she doesn't crumble at his silence. She doesn't fall apart at his withdrawal. When she keeps her power no matter what he does, that's when he looks at her differently. That's when he says, man, she really don't need me to be whole. And that's the truth. You don't earn respect by being available all the time. You earn it by making your presence mean something. You don't get it by over-explaining yourself. You get it by walking in alignment with who you are. When a man knows you love yourself more than you love the idea of him, he has no choice but to respect you or leave. And either one is a win. Because the right one won't try to control you. He'll admire your strength. He'll honor your mind. He'll respect the fact that you can't be swayed by games. And that's the kind of love worth holding out for. You know what people get wrong about confidence? They think it's flashy. They think it's about who talks the most, who walks in the room the loudest, who's dressed in the brightest colors or posting the most on social media. But real confidence, it's not loud. It's not attention seeking. It doesn't scream, look at me. It's quiet. It's calm. It's unshakable. You don't have to announce it. It announces itself the moment you walk into a room without saying a word. That's the kind of confidence that doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. A confident woman doesn't need to prove who she is. She knows it. She's not competing with anybody. She's not checking who's prettier, who's got more followers, who's in a relationship, who's married. She's in her own lane. And the beauty of that is she doesn't rush. She doesn't panic. She doesn't break down every time life throws her a curveball or when someone rejects her, because she knows rejection doesn't define her. It redirects her. She understands that being overlooked doesn't mean she's not valuable. It just means she wasn't in the right room. When you've got real confidence, you stop taking things personal. You stop overthinking every little thing a man says or doesn't say. If he doesn't call, if he pulls back, if he disappears, you don't fall apart. You don't start wondering, what did I do wrong? Instead, you say, he's not for me, period. You keep it moving because your worth isn't tied to someone's ability to see it. You don't need validation. You are the validation. You know who gets tested the most in life? Confident women. Because people want to know if it's real. They want to see if that smile still stands when things get tough. They want to know if that grace holds strong when the love isn't returned. And here's the powerful part. When it's real confidence, it does. You might hurt, you might cry behind closed doors, but when you step back out into the world, you walk with your head high because you know that what's in you is greater than what left you. A confident woman doesn't have to clap back. She doesn't have to respond to every insult, every rumor, every misunderstanding. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows who she's not. She doesn't chase people to stay in her life. She doesn't fight for a seat at tables that aren't meant for her. And she doesn't settle for love that makes her feel unsure. She would rather be alone in peace than accompanied in confusion. Let me tell you something. Real confidence is choosing yourself even when it's hard. It's walking away from situations that no longer serve you. It's setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect your energy. It's believing in your future even when your present looks like a mess. And it's not loud, baby. It's steady. You don't have to scream your worth. They'll feel it. You don't have to scream your worth. The right ones will see it, and the wrong ones, they'll get uncomfortable because they know they can't shake you. When you know your value, you show up different. You move different. You attract different. You don't settle for almost or someday. You wait on what's certain. You don't allow temporary feelings to make permanent decisions. You stay rooted. That's real confidence. And people may call it intimidating, but that's just because they're used to people who don't know who they are. You do, and that's your power. So, no, confidence isn't loud. It's not the most talkative person in the room. It's not in the flex. It's not in the noise. It's in the stillness. It's in the peace that says, whether you choose me or not, I choose me. That's the kind of confidence that can't be shaken, can't be broken, and sure as hell can't be controlled. You know, there's a moment in every woman's life when she finally wakes up. She's had enough sleepless nights, enough tears, enough waiting on calls that never came, enough explaining her heart to someone who barely listened, and in that moment, something inside her clicks. She realizes, hold up, I deserve better than this. That moment right there, that's the shift. That's when everything starts changing, not because the world got easier, but because she got stronger. The moment you know your worth, baby, everything around you starts responding to it. He either levels up or he walks away. See, when a woman doesn't know her worth, she accepts almost anything. She gives without limits, loves without conditions, and stays far too long in places where her heart is slowly being chipped away. She keeps hoping he'll change, hoping he'll see her, hoping he'll finally give her the love she's been pouring into him. But when she finally realizes who she is, and more importantly, what she's not going to tolerate, the entire dynamic shifts. Everything will shift well when she realizes who she's not going to tolerate. The entire dynamic shifts. She stops hoping for change and starts demanding alignment. And that's when the real ones rise and the weak ones run. Some men don't level up because they've never had to. They've been with women who allowed the bare minimum, who kept forgiving without correction, who confused patience with passiveness. But when a woman stands up and says, this is what I require, this is what I need, this is who I am, he has two options: grow into the man she deserves or get out of her way. It's really that simple, because once a woman knows her value, she stops entertaining confusion. She stops negotiating her standards. She stops begging for what she should have been receiving all along. And here's what a lot of people don't tell you. It's not about making him feel small. It's about making yourself feel whole. You don't demand more so you can feel superior. You demand more because you finally believe you're worthy of it. When a woman starts treating herself like a queen, she won't settle for being someone's maybe. She won't wait around for half effort. She won't let history be the reason she stays in misery. That's when she finds her voice. That's when she takes her power back. And the man who truly loves her, he'll notice that shift and he'll rise with it and end up rising, crawling here and crawling there. And then, see, the right man isn't intimidated by your growth. He's inspired by it. He doesn't see your standards as obstacles. He sees them as a reflection of the kind of woman he's lucky to have. But the wrong one, oh, he'll get uncomfortable. He'll say you change. He'll say you're being too much. That's just code for I don't want to grow. Let him go, because you're not here to raise a man. You're not here to teach him basic respect, consistency, and commitment. You're here to receive love, not chase it. You're here to be chosen, not tolerated. And if he walks away after you raise your standards, let him walk, because what you're really doing is creating space for peace, for purpose, for someone who knows how to show up. The truth is, not everyone is meant to go with you once you evolve. Some were only comfortable with the version of you that didn't know what she deserved. But that version is gone now. And the new you, the woman who walks with clarity, who knows her worth, who honors her spirit. She's not for everybody, but she's everything to the right one. So never be afraid to grow. Never dim your light to make someone else feel more secure. If he's meant for you, he'll level up. He'll look at you and say, she's a blessing and I better not lose her. But if he leaves, then let that be the proof that he was never ready for a woman like you. Because when you know who you are, you don't chase, you choose. And the one who's meant for you, he'll choose you truthfully, completely, and without fear of your shine.